What's going on, everyone? So, yesterday I posted a video on how to create unique 4-digit job or project codes natively in Monday without the workflow solution. Now, the reason I had to do that was the client's account that I was working on didn't currently have the workflow solution in place on their account. Um, I did draw it up originally in the workflow solution, and then when I went into their account, realized that it wasn't available. We had to do some workarounds. So, had a few responses asking me to walk through. So, how would I do it with the workflow solution in place? So, it's a pretty similar setup in terms of the board, just much more simple. Uh, we also can fully automate it. We can actually remove the copy and paste component that happened in yesterday's video of copying the current job number from the mirrored column into the current job number on the actual job board. So just going to walk through basically how we have it set up. We have a really simple jobs board, just a name, a title column, and our job number. Now, this is actually a text column, so we don't get a comma separated value in there. Uh, Even if you did set it up as a numbers column, that's doable. It actually doesn't store on the back end as a comma separated value. So if we were to have it there, we see the commas in there. But if you're clicking, the actual value does not contain the comma in it, since it is a numbers column. So I like to use the text column either way. Avoids confusion. So we'll remove that for now. We have our job number and our title column. Over on the job number helper table, we have one item with a job number in the numbers column. Since this operates on the back end, I'm okay using the numbers column. Actually, we need to use the numbers column because we're going to increase this value with an automation, and it needs to be a numbers column for the automation to know how to increase that value. And then we have a label or status column that just has an update and a just a hyphen, but in theory, null value. All right, so what's this look like on the workflow? When we open up the workflow editor, we'll see when an item is created it used to be called test one. So this is actually the jobs board. But when an item is created in jobs, it's going to get the item data from the job number item in the job number helper table. Now, that's always going to be the same item. So that's really easy to set up. You don't have to do any searching. You don't have to do any querying, nothing. You just have to access the current job number from the same item every time. And then we're going to change the column value in the jobs board to the current job number. And then lastly, we're going to go back to the job number table and we're going to update that label column to update. Now, the reason we have to do this is there's not an action in the workflow editor right now that allows you to increase the number, increase or decrease a number by one, or by any number for that matter. But that's the functionality that we need. So we actually have to do a handoff here where we're going to pass off the remaining actions of the automation to the helper table. So if we come into the helper table, we'll open up here. We have when update changes to update. So that was the final action in our workflow. It's going to increase the job number by one, and then it's going to reset the update to its default value. So we can continue this workflow without being interrupted, without having it stop or halt because the status is already set to update. So let's take a look and test it out. We'll see we're on job number 4002. Let's go into the jobs table and let's make a new job. So this should populate 4002 in the text column. And then when we go back to the job helper table, we'll see the job numbers 4003 and we're reset to update. So we're ready for the next input. Now there's a couple different ways that you could set this up on the inbound, side, on the intake side. You could do a trigger like I did with when the item is created. You could also do a trigger with a status column to say when a status updates to this point, say it's a deal workflow and you want to trigger it off of a one deal and then assign a job number, something along those lines. You could also do that. So there's a couple different ways that you could initiate this workflow, but effectively to get the project number populated and constantly updated to a unique 4-digit code. That's how you'd approach it. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Thanks.